So, people that are quote unquote spiritual people in like the New Age communities and whatnot, like they do this funny thing sometimes where they are claiming to be spiritual, but then are still falling into the same ego traps of the three-dimensional reality. And so this looks something like, I'm so high vibrational and I'm so sensitive and high vibrational. I can't be around all these things that are so low vibrational, and I'm working on being high vibe, so like I just can't allow any of these low vibe things in my life. And like the word toxic, like this is toxic and that's toxic and this other person's toxic and all these foods are toxic and that TV show is toxic and all this stuff is so toxic to my high vibe, and it just brings my vibe down. It's all so horrible for my vibe. Which, don't get me wrong, like I get it. Like, yeah, it's important to be conscious and aware of like what you're ingesting and the things that are around you, because it can impact your vibrational state. But when we are holding a high vibration, right, and we're all high vibrational beings if we allow ourselves to attune to the high vibrational parts of us, since we're all one, we're all the same, and we're all connected to God, and we're all connected to the universe. We all can tap in and tune in to the highest of vibrations at any given moment if we get, out of our heads and out of ourselves and into the now and into, that state of oneness with everything. But what happens when you're like doing this, dualistic, like good, bad, like I'm good because I'm high vibe and that's bad because it's a low vibe, like whatever that means. And just because like if somebody had like a million traumatic experiences, right, and it doesn't feel the most pleasant for me to witness a person that's experienced a ton of trauma, because I have to use my empathy, I have to connect to them, I have to like feel maybe some of the things it felt like to be them. That doesn't mean that they're toxic or bad or wrong, or I shouldn't kick them out of my orbit into some other reality just because they're in a portion of their soul's evolution where they're learning about traumatic experiences and what that feels like. It's neutral. That person gets to exist, right? Same with everything else. Shows, places, belongings, things, all the stuff, different brands, different types of foods. Like, it all gets to exist in a place of neutrality. Like, whether I decide to attune and stay attuned to those vibrations or not, that's on me. Like, that's my choice. And if I'm having trouble staying in the vibration of my choice because of what's around me, then that's on me as well. Like, that's another learning experience for me to figure out how to hold my space, how to protect my auric field without having to isolate, without having to run and in fear away from all the things that hold other vibrations in the world. And so it's really about the intention and the energy in which you're doing what you're doing, right? Like, I'm all about growing and changing and evolving and, getting the things that are meant for me in my journey and all the pieces to my puzzle. But it's like, are you in a dualistic ego place where we're going, I'm good, I'm better than, because I'm this high vibe thing and all the other things are like this low vibe thing and I'm so much better, right? You're just like the ego scale that we learn about in our How to Wear a Crown program. We can do that even with the things that are supposed to be good, right? This spiritual experience, this spiritual journey, I can take this New Age terminology and stuff and bend and move it around to have an ego experience for myself where I'm like shaming other people or, downing things instead of just allowing everything its place in this experience of oneness. Because the truth of the matter is, you cannot reject anything if we're one, right? If it's oneness, and the dark is me, and the light is me, and all the things in between and all the shades of gray are me, then anytime that I reject anything, I'm rejecting a piece of myself, right? That person I'm deeming toxic because they've had all this trauma, I'm really rejecting a part of myself that I think is toxic because I've experienced some trauma. Or take, for example, like, you know, on a journey of like abundance and wealth, like if I rejected anything that was like considered like, ooh, that's like poverty stuff, that's poor people stuff, like da da da, like I would be rejecting all of those parts inside of me that came from those experiences of poverty or poor, right? There was all these experiences that I had where it shaped me, it made me, it created who I am, and it doesn't make it a bad or a low vibration or a toxic situation to be in poverty. It's a neutral, equal, just as good as any other type of experience that you could have as a soul in the three-dimensional reality. Because, see, I learned these things from there. I learned how to like use my magic and create things of abundance and wealth out of literally thin air, like turning water into wine type shit. Like I learned how to create things of value from nothing, right? That is, you can't put a price tag on that. Like that's the most abundant thing you could possibly do. And I found it in poverty. I found it in being poor. I found it with no money, you know? So it's like, we can't quit putting like these weird labels on everything around you and thinking that like if you just remove yourself in your current state from all the things around you and put yourself somewhere else, that will mean that everything's going to be better for you from here on out, because it doesn't mean that. Like the places that you're in, you know, if you're running in fear or shifting away while judging it or deeming it wrong or bad or ugly or whatever, like you will end up in a position like that again, so that until you actually learn the lesson and you learn to hold your vibration through it or transcend it or what have you. And please don't get me wrong, man. I'm not saying don't leave things that aren't serving you. I'm not saying don't, you know, please don't stay in like some abusive relationship or something. Like just, oh, Rachel said I need to hang out here and hold my vibration in this abusive relationship. No, that's not what the fuck I'm saying. Like, don't do that. Don't tell people I said to do that. That's not what I said. But what I'm saying is, it's possible that bringing this level of neutrality to your perspective in life and in your perspective on your spiritual journey and shifting out of a dualistic ego mindset in terms of your spiritual walk will do more for you and your vibrational state and your spiritual journey than looking at things with these labels of bad or wrong or low vibe and high vibe, and like just look at it as it's you, right? Because we're doing oneness, right? That's me, that's me, that's me. Ooh, this is a reflection of something going on inside of me. And like I heard something earlier today about like if you're experiencing it, like if it's around you, it means, and something's triggering you to feel some kind of way about that thing, it means that something inside of your personal auric field has that same vibration. So you can only be triggered about it if it's inside of you. You can only be triggered about it if something's going on that's matching that in your field. So before you deem it bad or wrong, say, what is it about this that I hold that same frequency? What do I need to learn from this? What do I need to heal from this? How can I transcend these unpleasant feelings without leaving the situation, right? How can I look at it different, feel about it different, vibe about it different? How can I bring that level of neutrality into it? How can I bring those calming water energy into it and see it as it just is, right? How can I see myself as I just am without deeming parts of me bad or wrong? It's no comparison. We're all equal. It's all us. The whole, everything you see is you. It's as within, so without, as above, so below. You're creating your experience. So if you don't like what you're seeing, you have to look inward, not outward, for the solution. I love you so much. I hope you have an amazing day. Good luck on your journeys. All of the love. Mwah.